Okay, they blessed me and gave me 2 sweet teas. I mean, I'm not gonna complain about. I guess maybe these would equal out to 1, but they do. Red Lobster does do a little sticker, so you know it's not tampered with. Okay, so I guess you get a drink with the biscuits too. So I don't know. I think that's kind of confused. But I only paid for 1 sweet tea. This is true. This is the fastest I've ever got a package. It got here in less than 24 hours. Here it is. So I got this to put all of Delilah's outside toys in. Okay, we're gonna put your toys in there. Hopefully they all fit. Welcome to a new vlog. The theme of this month's vlog is, or this week's vlog is reading this month's book club pick, which is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, but we will get to that in a minute. I'm sorry, my light looks like it's kind of flickering, but we're gonna go through the weekly TBR. First, we will start with the weekly quote, which is so extremely relatable. There's nothing like staying at home for real comfort. Jane Austen. She gets it. Let's look at the weekly TBR now. The first book that I'm starting my day with that I read when I work out is On the Line, Notes from a Factory by Joseph Ponthus, translated by Stephanie Smee. This is about a man who is working at a fish processing plant, and then where they kind of a slaughterhouse for pigs. This will make you want to go vegan, let me tell y'all. The next one is the book that is the main focus of the vlog, and that is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. We are going to read the description together. I am like 15%, I think, of the way into it. I've read 55 pages. Twins, inseparable as children, ultimately choose to live in 2 very different worlds, one black and one white. The Vanez sisters will always be identical, but after growing up together in a small southern black community and running away at age 16, it is not just the shape of their daily lives that is different as adults. It's everything, including their racial identities. Many years later, one sister lives with her black daughter in the same southern town she once tried to escape. Across the country, the other secretly passes for white, and her white husband knows nothing of her past. Still, although separated by so many miles and just as many lies, the fates of the twins remain intertwined. What will happen when their own daughters' storylines intersect? Weaving together multiple strands and generations from the deep south to California, from the 1950s to the 1990s, The Vanishing Half is at once a riveting emotional family story and a brilliant exploration of race, gender, and identity, and the lasting influence of the past as it shapes a person's desires and expectations. So I didn't realize it was going to be that big of a story. I thought it was just going to be about Desiree going back to her hometown. So now I'm like, oh my gosh, what's the rest of this book going to be about? Then we have my mood read, which is A Rising Man by Abir Mukherjee. That's definitely wrong how I said that. It says, in the days of the Raj, a newly arrived Scotland Yard detective is confronted with the murder of a British official with a note in his mouth warning the British to quit India or else. So this is taking place in Calcutta in 1919. It is a historical mystery, and I'm actually intrigued right off the bat. Now we have my ebook pick, which this book has been crazy. I've really been enjoying it. And that is Edge of Eternity by Ken Follett, book 3 of the Century Trilogy. Right now we're dealing with like the Kennedy presidency and the start of the Cold War with Khrushchev. I hope I'm saying that right. And then the Civil Rights Movement and the Berlin Wall going up, which that kind of goes in with the Cold War. It's a big epic. I am 20% of the way into this one, and that is everything that I'm currently reading. I have some DoorDash on the way. I got some Red Lobster, which y'all know I've been just really wanting Red Lobster. My shirt kind of matches Red Lobster's vibe. That's cool. And look at this skirt, guys. I got one of these like really like flowy, lacy skirts, and it's so soft. I got this at American Eagle. I love it. I didn't know how it would match with this shirt, with the vibes, but I do think it matches. And I'm going to wear some red heels later because I have to go by public storage, not my storage unit, but you know, legal stuff that I've all been dealing with. So yeah, public storage has just been kind of like iffy. I definitely like my location better, but we'll just have to see how it goes. And I don't think anything's gonna get done today. I just had to sign paperwork and take that over to them, and I don't think they're gonna be able to do anything, but you know, we'll just have to see how it goes. And knock on wood that it does go positive. My horoscope today basically gave me that today's gonna be a 3-star day. It's gonna be fine. It's not gonna be great, but it's not gonna be bad either. So I mean, you can't really complain about that, can you? Really realizing I forgot to do my eyebrows today. I plucked them, but I didn't fill them in or brush them out. So to let y'all know, everything went well at the public storage. I just have to wait for them to call me for when I can actually, once it gets approved and all of that, the paperwork that I did. And then I went to Chick-fil-A after that, and like all the kids are starting their summer jobs because it was like obvious that like they gave me 4 straws, and the guy taking my order, he seemed new, so it's so exciting for them to have like that independence now or whatever, that they are working. That's awesome for them. But I do want to give you all my update on the Vanishing Half. So I am like really sleepy. Again, it's the time of the month almost, so I'm always tired before that. I was on one of my reading breaks because, you know, in between chapters I'll check my phone. I was watching a TikTok and the phone started falling out of my hand, but I caught it before it did because I didn't want it to hit my nose or something. So I took like a 20-minute nap maybe. I wish it would have been longer, but Fred started misbehaving because he wanted to come get on my head, and I'm just like, sir, it's too hot for that. He doesn't care. He'll be doing that when it's 110 degrees. That guy doesn't care. But we're here to talk about the Vanishing Half. I got to, I think, 35%, so I got about 20% today. So we should be finishing this in the vlog, and I am doing it on my Kindle. I'm trying to show y'all. We're doing like rainbows for Pride Month, and then like picnics. That's the theme I go for with June, is like a picnic. So a Pride picnic could be kind of cool. So that is the vibe that we're going for the Kindle case. Let's go through my notes. I start on chapter 3 today, and one of the themes I noticed was like class standings in this town of Mallard. We have I'm not gonna know how to say these French names. The Decurs lived free until Adele married Vignes, I don't know. And now her daughter is serving meals to farm boys because, so Adele is the mother of the 2 girls in the story, and one of her ancestors was the one who he was a slave but freed by the master who was his father, and he kind of founded this town for light-skinned Black people. And so you even see that where they all are racist to Desiree's daughter, who her father was very dark compared to her mother. So they all like say racist stuff to her and all that. And it's just really interesting to see how this town is in Louisiana. And it had me thinking of, could this happen anywhere else? Because in a state like Louisiana, I might be mistaken. It's but that is the state that had the most of like freed black people. I don't remember if it was there or South Carolina, but when I read the history of New Orleans, the book on the city of New Orleans, that was talked about, and it's just really interesting to see like this community that they formed, the community being Mallard. It's really interesting, and I would love like a book that's taking place even further back than this, just to see how that city started and what everybody in Louisiana thought about that. But we're seeing class standing, so classism is the word that I couldn't think of earlier, of how her family founded the town, and now she's just waitressing, serving guys who were just working on the farm, and they don't, her mother and everybody just is like, how does that happen? And then we have so Stella is the one who of how these sisters got divided, and it just seems so out of character for Stella, but we also haven't had her as a POV yet, kind of, because this is the way this is written. I don't think this is well written, and the way it is set up, it's not executed properly, but we'll get to that. And so I'm really curious to see Stella's side of the story and what her story is. I'm really intrigued by her. But let's go into the writing. So this is very choppy, like the flow, it does not flow well because of going through these flashbacks, going to present day, going back to a flashback, and just back and forth throughout the chapter. It really reminds me of Black Cake by Sharmeen Wilkerson, which that was a debut. I'm not sure if this is, I don't think this is a debut, because it says Britt Bennett is the author of the best-selling novel The Mothers, and talking about some other stuff on here, because when something's a debut you can kind of be like, okay, there's potential here, but still there could still be potential here to see what other kinds of writing styles Britt Bennett has done, especially if maybe she did a book where it was just like a linear time and not a non-linear story. But it's just really disjointing. It takes me out of the story by the way the flashbacks are done. I did love the opening to chapter 4. I wish I had written down, because these chapters are quite long. Okay, that's chapter 5. In the autumn of 1978, a dark girl blew into Los Angeles from a town that existed on no maps. She rode a Greyhound all the way from this unmapped place, her 2 suitcases rattling in the undercarriage. A girl from nowhere and nothing. If you asked any of the other passengers, they would have noticed nothing interesting about her except that she was so, well, black, aside from that quiet flipping through a worn detective novel that her mother's boyfriend had given her for her 17th birthday. And it goes on. I just like how that started. And then we even have the end of chapter 5. We had these characters hooking up or sleeping together for the first time. And all over the city, couples doing what they were doing. Teenagers kissing on blankets at a beach, the ocean rolling in black, newlyweds fumbling in a hotel room, a man whispering into his lover's ear, a woman holding a match to a slender candle, her face glowing off the kitchen window, across the city, darkness and light. Oh, I didn't even realize that part. But yeah, I just really liked how that was written, and just so picturesque, really sets the scene, almost cinematic in my eyes. And my other notes are that I think the author would have an idea, write that in. Like, she's just like, oh, I should do this part of the backstory. I should show Jude's first kiss and tell that whole story, and then jump back to the story that we were originally telling. And it's not like, it was just like she had that random spur of the moment, wrote it in the book, and then went back to the story that she was writing. I don't like that. As I said, it's really disjointing and just jumping all over the timeline in these chapters. It's really taken out of the story, which I hate, because I am loving the story in this. I think this story is so fascinating. Another theme that I didn't write down, but passing, and not just only in race. We have a character who is questioning their gender and how they're going day to day about that, and especially back then in 1978, and just all the different kinds of passing that one can do in life. Again, not just race, but in sexuality and gender and class. There's just all different kinds of passing that is happening every single day, happening everywhere to all sorts of different kinds of people. It's really interesting. So I do love this story, but the writing, I'm having a hard time with the writing. Tuesday. I never know what day it is. But let me tell y'all, nature appears to be healing. So bunnies have started showing up in my yard in like, I don't know, it was 2 weeks ago maybe when they started showing up. And now I've had 2 snakes. So yesterday was a little, about that big snake that got up in the car, was in the car for hours, like on the bottom part, went to a whole different town, went to the mall, went to the grocery store, he was all in there, but got out and died when I got home. And then today there was like a 3-foot long rat snake, which those are greatly appreciated by me. No, sorry if they're eating the rabbits. I'm sorry, circle of life. But so there have been 2 snakes, and I've seen at least 2 rabbits. I've seen 2 together, and I was eating Cheetos, so I'm kind of orange. I've seen 2 rabbits together, and then I've seen like solo rabbits, so I don't know if it was, you know, one of those rabbits just on its own or whatever, because they're all little Peter Cottontails. Eastern Cottontail's the actual name. So is nature healing? I don't know where all these animals are coming from. So I texted my friend who lives across the street, in a different neighborhood, but you know, we see a lot of the same feral cats and everything. So I texted her because we had not seen bunnies here for at least like 15 years, maybe more. Snakes, last time I saw a snake was probably like 2020. So it says, I'm gonna see if she has seen any snakes recently, but I think she has a pool. So I feel like pools probably attract snakes because of the water. But who knows? We will have to see if other people have been seeing snakes. It's just, yeah, especially like a 3-foot. I don't know what my wingspan is. That is over half of me. So that is quite the big boy. But let's talk about the Vanishing Half. I got to like 53, 52%. I read 60 pages. I don't know what the percent is, but we are finally hearing more about Stella and being introduced to new characters, so that has been really intriguing. And starting with chapter 6, I'm thinking that this is when Stella is going to be introduced to the story. Will not say if I was right. And another one about how another Stella theory, again, which was right. I'm not going to say what it was, but so my like one thought that I can share with y'all today is the character work with Stella, like her inner thoughts of why she chose to pass as a white woman even though she is black, and why she made these decisions. That has been just really intriguing, and just to see like the paranoia of being found out inside her head, that has been really, really interesting character work, and I have enjoyed that. Again, I do like these characters. I love this story, but the writing wasn't as bad today, but just, I'm not a fan of the writing style of this book, but the character work today was really good. And just seeing that mentality of having to live with your choices and living a lie, even the people you love, you're lying to, your family, your partner, your kids. Like, it's insane that you choose to go through that. I mean, obviously there's so many things that people in relationships are lying about. Sadly, the world is filled with liars, and yeah, that does drive me up a wall when people like lie to their families, lie to the ones they love. I think a lot of times they think, and in this case too, I think they think that they're protecting the other person, even though, I mean, in this, it's not bad that you're a person of color, but she doesn't see it that way. So it's just that mentality of why you would lie, even if you're lying because you think you're protecting those you love. It's a mind. I don't know how to say it in a clean way. So it's just really intriguing character work with the character of Stella. Focus, please. Happy Wednesday. I just got back from Target and we got Taylor Jenkins Reads. It's hard to say. We got her new book. Y'all are probably like, why didn't you pre-order it? I thought it would be available at Book of the Month because like all her other books, I've got a Book of the Month because I feel like there's going to be references to the Four Famous Women quartet. I don't know though, but I feel like it has to be. This is set in the 80s. It is about female. That's our main character is a female astronaut, but you have it's a lot of people going to the space shuttles. So so excited. So with the Target edition, these are the end pages with just the night sky. And it says an epic new novel set against the backdrop of the 1980s space shuttle program about the extraordinary lengths we go to live and love beyond our limits. So this is taking place in 1984, very close to when the Challenger takes place. So I don't know when the Challenger is gonna play a part, but yeah, so the end pages on the back are the same. So it says with Target, you get an exclusive playlist, which I think is kind of a dumb add-on because, I mean, people can just take pictures of that. But like I'm about to show y'all right here, this is what you get. I'm not going to read it because some people may think it's spoilery, but okay, we have my favorite Fleetwood Mac song, my favorite David Bowie song. We have a lot of Brandy Carlisle, David Bowie, and Elton John. Or it's only one Elton John, maybe. And so scan the QR code to listen to the playlist. I'm going to tell y'all right now, before special editions were a thing, before COVID, all of her books had those, I don't know about all of them, but you know, her big books, Malibu Rising, Daisy Jones, they have Spotify playlists that you can listen to. So I do recommend, you don't need to have a special edition. This book also is $21 at Target because I know with like the Hunger Games book, one of my friends had a really hard time because she didn't want to pay $30 at Barnes & Noble, went to the indie bookstore, they didn't have it. And then I was like, I got that at Target for yesterday for $21. So this is, it says 30 up here, but at Target you can get it $7 cheaper. So that's what I recommend. But again, there's all these special editions. I really liked the edition that had the space shuttle on the end pages. I love pictures of the space shuttle, but this one, I mean, you can't go wrong with the night sky. It's beautiful. Oh, and then it's blue without the dust jacket. So cannot wait to see, do I throw my TBR away and start this next? It might happen because this is very highly anticipated. I love all of her books. You know, trying to change things up. Why does it have to cut off the head? Like when you start filming, it's like it zooms in. Why is that a thing? That is somewhat better, right? And why do you have to be laying right where I was sitting? Okay. I read 80 pages in Vanishing Half. Let's get there in the little, you know, physical copy of the book. 263 is where we're going. And he had this on my phone, like, okay, here's where I got to right here. That's how much I read today. Get us to 76%. I have my notes. I should probably be holding the book. Oh, can we do this? Since I have room over here. But y'all still can't see it really. Like that. Even though there's going to be the light right there. But, you know, whatever. Throw all that down there. My notes. We started the day with chapter 10. I don't know if we started the day, but that was my first note. This is like my crackpot theory. I think that's the word. It is that what if the sisters swapped places? If the twins swapped places? Do we think it's a possibility? I feel like it could be, but let's see, what else do we have here? This quote from page 227. That was the thrill of youth, the idea that you could be anyone. And yeah, I don't think it goes away with youth. I mean, I'm still young, I'm 25, but that there's so much, I mean, we really don't know how much life is ahead of us, but it's a thing called life. We can only, things could change in the matter of seconds. It's crazy. So I think that's always, life can just happen at any moment. Okay, what's this one? Yes, we're introduced to Kennedy today, and she is the daughter of Stella, and she is a lot like her mom, making these big stories and everything. She is an actress, a creative person. And something that I just realized from the whole course of reading this book is that this book has, because like with A Little Life, I struggled with the character of Jude. He was supposed to be this person that everybody was in awe of, and they were all so curious about him and where he came from, but I never got that vibe. I never felt that. But with this, the build up of Stella and the mystery around Stella, the aura around Stella, it's done a fantastic job at building that up as it goes on, because I was like, think that it would have been better if we got both of the sisters' stories going parallel to each other, alternating each chapter. But would we have still had that mystery of Stella if we would have done it like that? I don't know. And those are all of my notes for the Vanishing Half for the day. I don't know how I feel about this camera angle. I got a new mattress topper today and new bed sheets, so I wanted to just try filming different things because my bed is like really organized, and I'm really liking the vibe. It just feels a lot more open. I feel tall now that I have a topper that's not broken half. I'm really liking it, but I wonder my my tripod with the light on it, if it can go higher. I don't know. We're just gonna have to see if I like filming over here. If you guys like me filming over here, let me know in the comments below. Hello. And happy Thursday. I haven't done my skincare. I used the heat brush on my hair, but I haven't combed or brushed it. I got some new glasses, and that's what we're doing in the mail haul. So I got these new glasses by Coach. These are like I don't know if they were the most expensive glasses I've had, because when I was a kid and got them like at the eye doctor, I don't know how much those were. But as an adult, because I don't really care about name brands, but I wanted like this kind of shape, and I wanted it to be smaller than, well, one, these were a medium and they kept sliding down my face, where if I looked down, they would slide down, and as you just saw, these do not do that. So I wanted to go down a size and just go to a smaller frame, and this, according to, the website, would look good with my face shape. And yes, there's a fly. There have been so many flies here lately. It's so annoying. But he and his sister, they don't do anything. They try, but they haven't really been successful. I'm the one who's been killing the flies. But these are my old ones, and these are by Muse, which I do like Muse, but I just wanted something smaller for my face. I thought would be better for my face and would not be falling off my face. So I got these ones that I'm wearing right now from Coach. My hair looks so bad. It just needs to be rushed. But Coach, fancy, So I got that, and then I really need to use these because that's my problem. My glasses get so dirty from makeup, and just they get dirty. I don't know how. So I don't remember. You can add all this stuff for your glasses for the different kinds of like things they can put on, preventative things. I don't know what I did because I didn't want to spend too much money either. But I did get a book all the way from the UK. This one I actually, those UK books, like, they do not really bend. I was looking for another book that had dog in the title, and this one came up and I really liked the cover, and so I got it. This is Bret Easton Ellis and the Other Dogs by Linda Wolf, translated by Frank Perry. And this is a signed copy there. So I'm going to assume she's some kind of German with a Wolf being the last name. Yeah, I don't know what language this is translated from. Usually it tells you translated from the German or whatever. And do we have anything about the author? Italy and Spain, so I could have been way wrong. And then the translator is from Sweden, so not sure, but at a rundown brothel in Caudal, Spain, the prostitutes are collecting stray dogs. Each is named after a famous male writer, Dante, Chaucer, Bret Easton Ellis. When a John is cruel, the dogs are fed rotten meat. To the east, in Barcelona, an unflappable teenage girl is endeavoring to trace the peculiarities of her life back to one woman, Alba Cambo, writer of violent short stories who left Callao as a girl and never went back. Author is Swedish. And I got that book. It came from, if you guys would like to check them out, all their info is on there. Now, I did get my Book of the Month package today. I already filmed the TikTok. So this one writer has controversy around him because back in the 2000s he wrote these nonfiction books, but turn out they were actually fiction. Like, he was on Oprah, he you know, he went around the circuit, and then they found out he was lying. So one of my friends, he was like, really interested in that scandal, and of course, I remembered, I was like, yeah, there was some guy who lied, but I couldn't remember the name, and it turns out Book of the Month is releasing his new book. And so I didn't realize that people were so like up in arms. Apparently he's using AI with his writing now. So when I saw this book, I didn't realize it was the same guy until my friend told me. But I still think this plot sounds really crazy and out there. So I'm still going to give it a go, but just know that I don't know if I'm endorsing this author or anything. But this is Next to Heaven by James Frey. I mean, just the first line on the back, sex, money, secrets. Yeah, that's the kind of story that I am intrigued by. So, razor sharp plunge into a perfect American town where privilege, sex, scandal, and murder lurk beneath a flawless veneer, but it's like a swingers party that they're at. And there's an NFL quarterback, a demure housewife, a sexy hockey coach with a penchant for married women, and a ruthless Wall Street closer. So I thought all those characters sound really intriguing. And somebody on Goodreads, because I did go look at the reviews after I bought the book not knowing, and they were like, there's the murder, it took too long to get to that. And I'm like, I'm just interested in all these characters. I was kind of disappointed to know it was a murder mystery, but we will see, we will see. So I just wanted to warn y'all that there is like controversy around this author. So if you don't want to, you know, be a part of that, then don't add that as your book of the month. And then this one I'm really scared about, and Brady from TikTok is currently reading this book, and I love her videos, and I had got it before I knew that, you know, she was going to be reading it. And so now somebody I follow is reading it, so hopefully I can see her review and everything. But this one is like, when I was at it, I was like, this is really gonna break me. It's gonna make me sad. So it's like, maybe I should get it. That is A Family Matter by Claire Lynch. So 2 little skinny books this month. This one, a young wife following her heart, a husband with the law on his side, their daughter caught in the middle. 40 years later, a family secret changes everything. So we're going between 82 and 2022, and it sounds heartbreaking. So it's gonna be fun. I want to see what this guy looks like. Doesn't he look like Greg or Gary from the White Lotus? That's who that guy looks like. He lives in Connecticut. Yeah, that's a fascinating character there. And then I did get my first order from, what is this, like Revolve? Yeah, Revolve. Okay, that's their address, but it's 2-piece set. It's on their fisherman daughter core. I don't know what it was. And I was like, that's cute. Let's spend money and buy this. So I got a 2-piece set. And yeah, so Coach, Revolve, I am being like really bougie this month. But that's my mail haul for this vlog. I am supposed to get a handheld vacuum today from Amazon in like the next hour, because I used to have one that is like 20 years old. He doesn't really do the job that great anymore, so I want to get a new one because I have dogs that shed and plants that, the plants in the other room, I don't know, they just like really, when I water them, I guess the dirt flies out, I don't know, but I really need to vacuum around that. So that, yeah, I needed one of those mini vacuums. And then it has a little other thing that you can put on it, and it's even smaller to get down in deeper crevices. So I think it's going to be a really good investment. So I've got into 77% in On the Line, Notes from a Factory. This is like a memoir, nonfiction, about this man who is working in a fish factory, and then I don't know how to say it, but where they basically a slaughterhouse for cows and pigs where they go to die. And as I said at the start of the vlog, this will make you want to go vegan because it's just so brutal. And like the mentality of people having to have that job and go through it, because like we've talked about with a lot of times when I read nonfiction, it makes me just realize like humans are doing all this, like with Chesapeake Requiem, to get that seafood on your table, this is all the steps that it had to take to get there. To get that hamburger in your hand, all these steps have to get there. To get that bacon on your plate, all these things have to happen. And just think of being a person, and he has a dog, he's like an animal lover, whatever. I don't know if he's an animal lover, but he has a dog who I think he very much loves. And he's like, if only that dog knew what he was going off to do, because he's going to this factory to kill these cows and pigs who like soil themselves because they're so scared, because they know what is about to happen. And I can't imagine the mentality of working somewhere like that, of having to see these animals be terrified and going to their deaths just for the benefit of humans, which I know very hypocritical of me to be saying all this, because like I'm gonna be going to Chick-fil-A later, I'm going to be having some beef and rice in a little bit, like it really makes you think, and to think of the people who have to witness that every single day, the stench that comes with it, the blood that comes with it, and all of that. It's just like, oh my. But I do think this flows, this is translated, so I do think that can be a part of the issue. Like when I read it out loud, I'm having to go back sometimes to make sure I'm getting that understanding of what I'm reading. So this is giving me 2-star vibes. Got interrupted, but I knew filming it this time there was a chance of that. And what is my phone doing? So as I was saying, I think if you work like a blue collar job, I always get like the collars confused. Fred has a red collar, but if you work a like blue collar job, so you're not in a factory, you're like in an office setting or something, I think you can still find the relatability of having a job and having to just go through this cycle every single day, every week, whatever, and that it's just, you're like a cog in a machine or a brick in the wall. How it's just crazy to think about that as humans we have to do all this stuff. I mean, I guess you technically don't have to, you could be out on the street, but to be seen as a successful human, you know, you have to do all this stuff. And is that really what we were made to do? What I was made for? That isn't that like the Billie Eilish song in the Barbie movie? Yeah, it's just really interesting to think about. This is what we're supposed to be doing. But also with the meat talk and talk of being vegan in the Bible, because I know a lot of religions of like friends who I grew up with were vegetarian because of their religion. And so when like in the Bible, in the Garden of Eden, Lady Gaga reference, were they eating the animals or were they eating plants? Like I'm really interested about that. I know that's probably a really easy thing to look up, but I should look that up because I'm curious. Like in Christianity, were they originally supposed to be vegetarians? Because we do see it in some religions, so that is interesting. So I wonder if that was how it was intended to be. But you know, everything gets warped as time goes on. Everything evolves. That's how the world works. I wanted to give that update on that book. I don't know when I'm going to be finishing it. Maybe this weekend, maybe next week. I haven't finished a book this month. I don't think I have. No, Vanishing Half has been the first one that I started. So it's June 5th today. Don't know if I'll finish Vanishing Half. I do think it is a possibility. I have like 25%, so I do think it's possible, but not entirely sure if I'll finish it. I have finished The Vanishing Half. I read 80 pages in here today, so now we're going to go through Call Pal and find out what I'm going to rate this book. So off the bat, this is somewhere in the 3-star vibes in my opinion. We're just gonna have to see where that all goes. Let's set the book over here so y'all can see what we're talking about without me having to hold it. I'm actually gonna turn the camera a little bit right there so y'all can have a better view. Let's start with the characters. Something that I was really picking up on. So we have our 2 sisters, which I think this cover can be seen as multiple different things, but our sisters of Desiree and Stella, who are the twins at the heart of the story. They are definitely our most developed characters. They are very like emotionally and mentally developed. I think Stella was the standout character here. She is a woman who is black but is passing as white starting in the mid-century United States mid-century time period. And obviously that is for race-related stuff a crazy, crazy time. She's super paranoid and scared of everything, really, of being exposed. I would say even scared of herself, scared of her family, and just scared of everything around her. And I just seeing all that mental stuff was incredibly fascinating to read about. I've read so many books about people passing. We can think Kitty Carr. Did you hear about Kitty Carr? I think that's the name. Evelyn Hugo, then Passing by Nella Larson. Do y'all know if there's any nonfiction books about somebody who has passed as white? So if you know any, let me know, because I've never read a nonfiction book about that. And this is really, like, again, just the mentality of it is really fascinating. But going back to that, so I think our two sisters are very developed characters, but a lot of the book is focusing on their daughters, so they're cousins and just living very different lives. And those characters, I just think they were not as developed, not as deep. One thing though, those characters, I have a great physical image in my head of what those characters look like. When with our sister characters, I had no idea what Stella looked like. I'm like, I know she's passing as a white woman, but I don't know what she looks like. I don't know what her physical features are. So I thought that was interesting. A book that I think is focusing on your skin color, the skin color of these characters. I think that's important to have that physical description. That I didn't realize what the character looked like till today in the last 25% of the book. So I do think just a lot of, and something that did also kind of convolute the story, we would randomly get perspectives of our male characters who are not our main, they're not, you know, they might be partners of some of our female characters, and I just thought that really took away from the story and was adding stuff that we didn't really need. So characters, I'm going to give a 3. Atmosphere, the town of Mallard very much fascinated me, how it was like this utopia of all these black people who that was pretty much all. So I did get kind of confused at the end because they were talking about a cemetery and how there is a white section and a black section, but the whole rest of the book made it seem like it was kind of like a utopia in a sense for light-skinned black people. And I just thought that was really intriguing of how this town was formed and founded with this man who was a freed slave. I thought that was all really intriguing. I would love a book about that time period of when this town was made and the reaction of all the other people in Louisiana, what they thought of this town and everything. So I did like that. But again, I'm going to give it a 3. I think it was good, but it didn't have a huge impact. I'll actually do that in a, yeah, this pen, this blue one. The ink's not that great compared to my other one. So for writing was the worst part of the book in my opinion. I hate how this book was executed. We're following multiple timelines, you know, we're following the present, and then we would have flashbacks to the past, and it was just very confusing how it was done. It didn't flow well. It was very choppy, and again, it felt like the author had this main story that I've told you about what the description of the book is, and then would have an idea for something in the past and write that and then jump back to our main story. And I'm like, why did we need to know that? Yeah, I did not like the writing style. I'm giving the writing a 2 because there were some really beautiful excerpts. Plot is a 5 though. Plot is a 5 because this story is fantastic of these two sisters that get separated, and they're twins, and that's only, you know, twins are really tight, so when they go their separate ways, that's interesting. And how a theme here is the title. The title, oh my gosh, it's interesting. Half of yourself is leaving you. and you're trying to present yourself, or you're trying to present yourself with this other figure. Yeah, how there's just so many different forms of people passing, and I hate to say it that way. I feel like that's taken away from somebody passing as another race, but we see a person who is transgender and have to deal with that and trying to be yourself in this time period. I mean, even now it's not really, you know, people are still gross about how they treat transgender people, but back then in the like 70s and 80s, completely different. They didn't have access to all what they have access to today. So we see somebody like that, and we see actresses, and you know, that's putting on a new role. And as I said, you just see all these different, there's more I wanted to add to that, but it's hot and the AC is doing its thing and I'm home alone, and yeah, I'm not messing with the machines. So I'm kind of discombobulated, but there's just so much intrigue. So yeah, intrigue is our next one, and we're gonna give that a 4 because I was wanting to know what would happen, how everything would be found out. The logic, I never know what to put for logic. I always really struggle with that one. Where I was gonna say a 3 that it was good. And enjoyment, again, it gave 3-star vibes. So we are going to do the math here. I'm sorry for on the plot. I got kind of distracted with my thoughts and didn't know. But again, I will have a written book review, which the link to all my review places is always down below. So we have 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3 divided by 7. And that's giving us a 3.28, which will be a 3.25. So yeah, it was a good book. If any of this intrigues you, then yeah, maybe I would recommend this, because I mean, it has been part of like a lot of different book clubs and all. I know my copy is a book of the month edition, so it doesn't have the stickers, but I think like Good Morning America book club, different things like that. So, and I don't know if the adaptation's been made yet, because when did this book publish? 2020, so it's been 5 years, sorry. They're making one. I do think that could be super interesting, because I do think transitioning on the screen is different than the flow of a story. Just visually seeing something is kind of easier. I'm a visual person personally, so I do think it could work better as a TV show or movie. I don't know what they're doing. I think it'd work better as a TV show. So maybe if any of this sounds intriguing to you, pick it up. Again, that's a maybe for me, but I'm gonna go write my review now and do my book journaling and that fun stuff. I don't know if y'all are able to hear it, but it just started raining really loudly. But I'm here to do my last reading update for the vlog. So I got to 26% in A Rising Man, and I am really enjoying this. I don't know if it's my favorite that I'm reading right now, because I'm liking Edge of Eternity a lot as well, which this shirt was fitting for Edge of Eternity and The Vanishing Half, because there was a character named Kennedy. The shirt my dad got me because JFK was my favorite president, but Edge of Eternity has me be like, I think it's probably good not to have a favorite president, but besides the point. We're here to talk about A Rising Man. We're just going to go through the Cop House system. So characters, I really like our multi-layered characters. I don't really, at least in the mysteries that I've read, you don't really get that. But our main character, Sam Wyndham, this is told in a first person perspective, which I didn't really expect for this. I don't know why, but he has multi-layers. He's not really how he appears on the outside. There's a lot to him. I heard somebody, I'm blanking on the guy's name, but he's on TikTok and he always talks about an onion and pulling back the layers of a character or a story, and that's what it's like. The atmosphere has been my favorite part. This is taking place in Calcutta in 1919, and you're just really immersed into India and building this world that is so foreign to a Western audience. And then during the time of the British Empire, so long ago, a country that is ready to free itself from the shambles and or shackles. It's trying to free itself. There's a lot of rebellion and unrest going on, and we have this Scotland Yard detective that is, I don't remember what, I always get Scotland Yard and all these different British things confused, but you know, he is a detective who's come in from Britain after the war. You're just so immersed into the setting that kind of leads into the writing. The writing is very descriptive because of this world building and just creating this vivid world. I mean, how can you write India and not make it vivid? And the plot, I'm not really a mystery girly, so I'm just, you know, going with the flow, but I am enjoying it. The intrigue has been really good. I don't know who our killer is going to be, but I am enjoying this book quite a lot more than I expected to. I learned about this book from Hardcover Hearts here on BookTube. I don't know if she still does videos, but she's one of my favorites, and that's who I discovered the book from. Let's do our weekly wrap up. So I have read over 100 pages every day this week. I hauled about 3 books because the eBay book I technically got last week, and I bought it before that. I bought it back in May, so that one doesn't count towards June. So I got my book of the month books, and then I got Atmosphere. So I spent around what, like 30 some bucks on books this month. Or not this month, this week anyway. But what am I going to be reading next week? I'm going to be reading my graphic novel pick of the month, and that is Blankets by Craig Thompson. This is a very big, it's a tome, over 500 pages, but once again, graphic novel. It is a coming-of-age story set in a rural, isolated community in the Midwest, just dealing with all the things that teenagers deal with in our world, and I cannot wait. So that is what we will be reading next week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way through, leave some kind of fruit emoji in the comments below, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye! Personally, because it's not doing a whole lot for me, but I do think a lot of people, especially if you work like the 9-to-5 lifestyle and just have a job, like it doesn't have to be one that is in a factory. And hold on,